This is THV 11 News at 6.
New tonight at 6, former Conway surgeon Guy Peoples facing new rape charges involving a second patient. Court documents allege Peoples sexually assaulted a 38-year-old woman while she was sedated at the Baptist Health Medical Center in Conway last spring. The charges come just months after his November arrest for allegedly raping a 70-year-old patient at the same hospital. Peoples surrendered his medical license and remains in custody. Prosecutors say the investigation is ongoing and additional victims may still come forward. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brooke Buckner. Fire protection drama in Garland County tonight with a small community divided by a power struggle at its volunteer fire department. The former chief and his wife speak out, new at 6, accusing the board of overstepping and risking safety. THV 11's Tanya Motorzitsky has the latest.
In Fountain Lake, fire protection is uncertain.
It's terribly sad that what they're doing to us. And we're in jeopardy because we don't have the first responders and the firefighters.
Last month, the department's board voted to change leadership, removing the fire chief, Harry Baker, and assistant chief. That decision led most of the volunteer firefighters to take a leave of absence, leaving just 6 out of 18 volunteers to protect the area. Earlier this week, Baker announced he was rehired as assistant chief and says the person the fire board put as chief is already gone. Baker's wife, Katie, says the board is supposed to manage finances but is overstepping.
They're stepping over into operations and managing, just managing the firefighters too much.
Do they have authority to fire anybody?
They change their bylaws at will and they just do whatever they want to do.
She's calling on the board to resign and claims some board members also hold positions on other boards throughout the city and county.
It's a conflict of interest is what it is.
Meanwhile, outside the station, a sign asking for help. A visible reminder that until more volunteers step up, it'll take a community-wide effort to help keep everyone safe, even if that help is coming from across the county. In Fountain Lake, Tanya Motorzitsky, THV 11 News.
Tanya, thank you. County officials say volunteer fire departments have mutual aid agreements so other fire stations can help out when needed. The department board declined to comment further, but another public meeting is planned in the next few weeks.
Now, weather from the First Arkansas Bank and Trust Weather Garden.
Spending a little more time outside where temperatures warm today, close to 60 in Little Rock, now cooling off tonight. And we still have a batch of some sleet and snow on the ground, slowly but surely melting away, and with readings making it into the 70s tomorrow. We'll see even more of this melt off, but it's because we don't get much sun on this side of the building in the weather garden. But a gorgeous sunset shaping up outside for those of you that are wanting to know what's happening out and about. Just a few high-level clouds, and that's it. Again, our temperatures made it into the middle to upper 50s, and we're down to 52 now in Little Rock, but look at Jonesboro, 37 there. They're really under the influence of this upper level trough that will eventually lift away, so warmer temperatures there for northeast Arkansas too. Tonight we'll see our temps drop off into the upper 30s by tomorrow morning. Not as cold. We'll stay above freezing. Look at this for tomorrow afternoon. Quite possibly the nicest day of the year so far. 71 here in the metro, 81 Texarkana, even 63 in Jonesboro. Got the Oaklawn forecast on the way here in just a few minutes, and we'll take a closer look at your weekend.
But as of right now, we aren't anywhere close to having any sort of an agreement that would enable us to fund the Department of Homeland Security.
Senate Republican leader John Thune with an update on where things stand on a deal to fund DHS. Roughly a week before funding expires, Democratic leaders are demanding a number of things to restrict ICE agents after the death of 2 people in Minnesota, but some Republican lawmakers say those demands are rapidly changing and holding everyone else hostage. Arkansas Congressman French Hill is working with Democratic Congressman Gabe Amo of Rhode Island on a bill that would expand cooperation between the U.S. and Taiwan in space research and development. The Taiwan and American Space Assistance Act has passed in a House committee and, if approved, would allow NASA and NOAA to work more closely with Taiwan's space agency on satellites, space exploration, and atmospheric and weather programs, areas currently limited under U.S. policy. Meanwhile, State Senator Brian King brought an Agriculture, Forestry, and Economic Development Committee meeting to Berryville last night to talk about keeping local rivers and streams healthy. He says it all had to do with a proposed $25 million interim study that will look at gravel bar buildup, stream bank erosion, population growth, and impact of developments along rivers.
I hope that we can positively work together from diverse groups to try to be above board and transparent and try to work for different projects and take challenges that maybe one group has and problems and issues and see if we can't work on solutions and work together on it for better rivers and streams.
Senator King says he wants to bring input from last night's meeting back here to Little Rock in hopes of getting the study approved sooner rather than later. We're in the midst of election season, and after an important runoff in District 26 earlier this week, we now set our sights on March 3rd, Election Day for the primary election. But before we get there, election officials in Pulaski County want to remind you where early voting takes place. It starts Tuesday, February 16th at these 12 locations across the county. You can cast your ballot on weekdays from then until March 2nd, anytime between 8 to 6. That time shrinks to 10 to 4 on Saturday with no voting on Sundays, with Election Day being March 3rd. Over in Conway, a judge has ruled the district and its Board of Education violated the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act. The decision follows a January hearing over a lawsuit filed after the school board went into an executive session during an August public meeting to discuss issues that should have been handled in open session, including alleged misuse of district funds, a proposed legislative audit, and superintendent hiring procedures. The Arkansas Supreme Court says a local attorney has resigned after filing a court document that included AI-generated information. The court found the filing cited legal cases that do not exist. Attorney Dana McLean admitted using Microsoft Office Copilot to help draft the document, but failed to verify the citations. McLean called it a mistake made during personal hardship and has since resigned and self-reported to the Office of Professional Conduct. The court warned attorneys that misuse of artificial intelligence can lead to serious penalties, including fines or loss of a law license. Jumping hurdles, climbing windows, and dragging 150 pounds all in just over 2 minutes. That's what it takes to move one step closer to becoming a Little Rock police officer. The department has launched a new, more demanding physical ability test, and THV11's Tamer Knight takes us inside the course.
The Little Rock Police Department is introducing an all-new physical ability test. This one meant to mimic real-life situations out in the field. Come on, follow me.
One more lap. The course was designed to make sure that it actually tested our applicants to give them a more real-world perspective of what they may face once they hit the streets, but also what they may face once they get into our police academy.
LRPD is actively seeking applicants who are physically fit to take on the high demands and stresses of the job.
The moment you submit your application, I would highly recommend you start running, you start working out, and you start trying to get your mind right to complete this course, which is significantly harder than the last course that we had.
I'm no LRPD recruit, but I did take my chances on the new course, coming in at a whopping 160 yards.
Hurdle. So you'll start with 2 laps around the perimeter of the course. When you enter our course, you'll have 2 hurdles. Those little red poles right there indicate jumping over, ditches or barricades, things like that. All these exercises are things that you would most likely find when you're out in the real world on the streets and you possibly get into a foot chase.
It's no walk in the park to meet the required 2 minutes and 21 seconds deadline, and that's without penalty.
Right. If you knock down any one of our hurdles, that is, you get 2 seconds added to your final time.
To wrap it all up, there's a climb through a window, a 150-pound dummy drag, and one last lap to seal the deal.
There you go.
It's a challenge, but LRPD says there's a little bit of grace in the application process.
So if they don't complete it the first time, we're going to give them an opportunity to retake the PT test at a later date, up to 3 months, if this is something they really want to do to get themselves in shape and retake the test. But if you fail a second time, then you're going to be disqualified for an entire year.
Do you have what it takes to be a Little Rock police officer? Now, this is only a small piece of the application process, but you can always learn more at our website at thv11.com. For THV11 News, I'm Tamer Knight.
All right, next 3 days, beautiful for the weekend for those with outdoor events and activities planned. Tomorrow, 71, in the 50s Saturday with a weak front, back into the 60s on Sunday. That's a good looking weekend.